Alright. So, we are playing horror game because it is spooky time of the year. Okay. Yeah, tutorial wouldn't hurt. Okay, please read. Oh yeah, that's the other thing about this game. It's a very heavy reading game. This is a heavy reading game, which means I'm gonna be reading a lot, and fun fact about me, when I read, I stumble over my words and stutter quite a bit. I'm not the best reader, I never have been, so bear with me. I'll try my best. But I'm gonna do my best. I've got water, I've got Sprite. Let's fucking do this, bitches. Alright, please read. This game is designed to be played with a mouse. Well, I've got that. See? Look at that. Look, I got the mouse. I got the mouse. Alright, the input required of you is based around clicking the mouse buttons. The right mouse button will change the cursor image and function only when pointing, indicated by the extended index finger. Can you, the player, interact with certain menu buttons and prompts. Please click below in the pointing mode to continue. To container. Alright, let's container, everyone. The second cursor mode is indicated by the cursor image featuring a hand extending all fingers. This mode concerns interacting with objects inside the world, mainly picking up an object and moving it into another position. To continue, please pick up the piece of trash on your right and place it in the trash can on your left. Remember, the right mouse button will change the cursor mode, but when holding something, the mode cannot be changed until the cursor is not holding something. Oh, I get it. Okay. When I was reading it, I didn't fully register what it was saying, but okay. Now I know. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. All right. That's it. There will be many situations in Growing My Grandpa that will require you to pick things up. Place things, grab things, or give things. Don't be afraid to experiment and keep an open mind about using your hand. Interesting word choice, but okay. Please click the button below to continue. Remember, menu buttons must be clicked in the pointer mode. In order to expedite the cleaning process, you can use digits 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard's number row at the top of the keyboard to reposition the trash can below. Try moving the can to the right of the screen on your 3 on your keyboard in order to continue. Oh. A variety of video options can be changed at the time. I already messed with those settings. I already messed with those settings, so we're good. Hovering over the small question mark at the top provides an overlay related to availability configuration. Alright. Thus ends the tutorial. Yeah, it will come in handy, no doubt. Handy. I'll stop. Okay, I hope you enjoyed Growing My Grandpa. Infinite thanks to my patrons and supporters for believing me in my work. Yams. Is it yams or yams? I don't know. But, however you pronounce it, this is their game. I need to drink some water. I'm just drinking the Sprite. This is a heavy reading game. I'm gonna need water. Okay. Oh boy. Reading. My weakness. Yes, gotta hydrate. Oh boy. Reading is my weakness. I excused Adrienne during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of... Oh god, I don't know what that word is. I don't know what that... Oh, demerits. That's... demerits. I said I'm not a good reader. I've never been a good reader, so bear with me. Okay, her recent string of demerits. Okay. It was our first time meeting outside of our... Son of a bitch. I hate reading. Quarterly evaluations. Yeah, I just gotta take my time. Quarterly evaluations, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Mrs. Richardson's classroom observations concerning Adrienne's emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. Mood. As I understand it, she is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she absolutely must. Mood. Some things she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Kinda mood. Before the meeting, I read Mrs. Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about Adrienne's home life. The parents are well educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrienne. She is often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of warmth and affirmation when dealing with someone so young. Well, I'm sure that won't backfire in any way, shape, or form in this horror game. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament extracts an inhibition in a child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only... Okay, part of the thing is sometimes it's a little hard for me to tell what letters are what. Okay, that is an O. I couldn't tell if that was an A or an O. For it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmised that I would be able to reach out to Adrienne by way of make-believe. Oh yeah, this dude has no idea that what she's doing is actually an actual thing. I think. It's unclear if she's actually growing her grandpa or not. I haven't gotten that far in the game. Like, when watching other people play, I've never saw that far into the story. Okay, let's see. How are you liking your new house? You've told me you used to live close by, but it still can be a big adjustment. A new room, a new school. The basement. I like that. The basement? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. Your mom and dad made you go? Yeah, but there's lots of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though. Why did they send you down there? Oh yeah, the text shiver. That can make it a little difficult. Fighting. They were fighting, shouting. I came in to help, and they shouted at me. They said go clean up downstairs, so I went. That sounds tough. Do they fight a lot? No. Well, It's alright, Adrienne. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead? Okay. Well, it was weird at first, the stuff down there, but cool. I found something living, sort of. Oh, that's reassuring. That's very interesting, Adrienne. Please tell me more. Well, actually, no, that's not well, I mean, it is concerning, but not in the horror aspect. It could be a rat or that kind of thing. You know, from a normal point of view. By indulging in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrienne's anxieties surrounding her home and her parents. I'm putting in words that aren't there. The symbols of Adrienne's stories seem to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Whatever might come of our next meeting, whether she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down her story here. Adrienne's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. Alright. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Alright, and we're into the game part. Into the gaming aspect. Oops. This is gaming. This is gaming. Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed their interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window, I offered. No, she said, like a mirror. reflecting inward towards the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn for the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Oh yeah, that thing looks fun. That thing looks really, really fun. Upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew or extended its shaggy-haired self. Hair like the fur of a dog, I offered. No, she said. Not the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out towards her, the animal's hair, reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight, like the hair on a brush. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. First she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked faceless figures. I heard these cryptid utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for an anomaly she feels in her own home. Oh, he was asking that as a question. My bad. The hidden passage, I am unsure of what to make of that. He is reading into this so hard. He is reading into this so fucking hard. The revealing of the concealed seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. Okay, let's ignore the Lovecraftian brush ball and look over here and see what else there is. Nothing. Okay. The darkness of the shadowy corner unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. Oh great, darkness. My favorite thing. Okay, trash pile. Can I not investigate that? Okay, what is happening? Huh. Oh! Okay, I see what I have to do. Okay. There we go. Alright. I figured it out. When she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. Oh, that's fun. That looks really fun. I want to search the closet. I keep mixing up the buttons. I'm gonna get the hang of this eventually. Hey, there's lots of stuff in here. So let's see what all we're working with. There we go. Get rid of all the trash. All clean. This space will not be dirty again until next week. Oh. A photo of your late grandfather. Mr. PhD. On the reverse side of the photograph, there is more text. Good luck on your trip to the Urals. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. Stay warm. Okay. Papers crudely bound together to form a book. Oh, wow. The impudence of this research was the recognition of a peculiar pattern in fragments of documents relating to magic and magico-religious practices. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws relating to the banning of sorcery and necromancy. Compilations of folk charms relating to love spells, hagiographs, I probably butchered that, I am so sorry, of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries of great distance, from the Levant to the Khazar Khaganate. Wow, these are very complicated words. To the border of the modern nation states of Russia and Kazakhstan today. I don't know what these words are. Oh, there's more. There is so much more text. From this paper trail arose a constant account about certain form of magic relating to the binding of demons to a sorcerer's will, a demon called the Heaven of Needles, or the Angel of Needles, was known to be kept best shamanic keepers, or wards who suffer from face blindness, whether by birth or through developmental causes like a stroke or head injury. It was known to be extremely effective but terribly dangerous, so much so that it became outlawed several times and was generally a popular scapegoat related to unexpected death. Alright then. This nexus of magico-religious meaning-making sorcery regarding human-related desires and the history of... I just realized my bedroom window's open, so if like any of my neighbors step out into their backyards, they're gonna hear me saying all this and just be like, what the fuck is going on? So, you know, my parents might be getting some interesting phone calls. So we'll see how that plays out. Disorders related to the fusiform gyrus is where the subject of this dissertation will reside. God, some of these words. It's just a game, don't read into it. Yeah, seriously. I will outline further and then analyze the historical sources I mentioned previously. Then I will go into the neurology of mystic and magical religious experiences. After that, I will detail my ongoing correspondence with a resident of the Ural Mountain region. Hey, it's that place the grandpa was going. It's all coming together. Who is an expert folklorist and keeping of traditions he claims have been passed down through his extended family for generations. Actually, logically, this is the grandpa he's talking about. Alright, glue. All-purpose glue. Alright, and take the doll. A slouching doll. Its material is rough and coarse. And is it just me, or does that kind of look like the Demogorgon? Okay. I interrupted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow grandpa, she explained plainly, and then, without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. Ah, yes, 'cause that's something little girls do, just on the weekend. Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again and asked what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately, she explained slowly. Grandpa lives in a cage in the other room, the cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. Oh, that clears up everything. That explains everything. Okay. Alright, now we can go here. Up. A hastily written note. And I wanted to read that. Okay. A note on experiment 3-4. Ritual behavior with the sample trading bargaining will result in dismissal from the project. The precise mechanism of the exchange of symbols and gift required for a requested thesaurus, yield is not known, and even the accounts of success are eligible, bleh, end in violent death. Alright. Can I not? I really want to investigate the trash pile. Okay, I guess we're just gonna go through the door. Oh, enter. That tracks for some girls. I don't know about me. Like, I played with Barbies and Legos. I never tried to grow my grandpa. Right. Beyond the door in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It is strange, almost poetic, the elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. Yeah, he's reading into this in all the wrong ways. Oh. There we go. At the cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing, she confided at first. She took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa. And she combined them, and she wished very hard. I can only assume in this fantasy that next her wish would come true. In what child's story would it not? Particular human presentation, generic human figure. Glue together. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. That looks promising. Alright, you sit in there, Grandpa. You sit in there. She put Grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. Yeah, mine too! Yep, surely this will work. This will go so well. She wished with all her heart, and then she told me she waited for a while for something, anything to happen, and after that time, she began to cry. Oh, this poor kid needs some friends. She cried really hard, she said. She wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. Oh, this poor kid. And it hurt me. It hurt me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By this time, lunch was almost over. I said goodbye to Adrienne, and she left to rejoin her class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I have employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing I interpret, the impressions I get may begin to help me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to certain topics or keywords you can discuss with Grandpa. You've gained the conversation topic, wish. You have also gained the following keyword. Shell. Alright, week 2. I met again with Adrienne in order to address her emotional outbursts in the past few weeks. It is our second time meeting, and while it is standard practice to have multiple sessions with a troubled student, as I assemble a report for the counseling department, I could not help but think, as we sat down in my office, that Adrienne already seemed to show a remarkable change in self-esteem and confidence. And perhaps my and Mrs. Richardson's estimation of her as emotionally disturbed was enormous. The paralyzing shyness and withdrawn attitude Adrienne possessed last week was not entirely diminished, but she seemed to hold herself differently this week. However, this only lasted as long as our conversation pertained to initial introductory pleasantries. When I began once again asking her about her parents, her feelings regarding her new school and her new home, she quickly lost the new confidence she had gathered up and withdrew again into herself. So once again, I partook in some collaborative make-believe, but this time I was aided by the fact that I had managed to do some research into Adrienne's grandfather, and I had some insight into what she might actually be finding in the basement. Now, this may be overstepping my bounds, some as school counseling, as a school counseling caseworker, maybe a little, maybe a little. But this was all in the service of making Adrienne comfortable and happy in this learning environment. In any case, I was able to dig up information regarding the grandfather by inquiring at the university in town. Not that I make a habit of sleuthing, but I had a suspicion the grandfather was a professor there, or at least some sort of researcher, due to the fact that the newly constructed laboratory on the campus I drive by every day bears his name in memorial. He was some sort of anthropologist or linguist or neuroscientist. I did not have time to dig deep before the scope of his work became dizzying and I ran up against the limits of my undergraduate education. But back to the make-believe. What is your grandfather like? Is he a smart man?
Not anymore, but I'm teaching him.
So he's grown a good deal then. You've been feeding him well?
Yeah, he is getting bigger, but he has but he has a lot of room in his cage.
He's still behind bars?
Yeah, well, he might be able to climb out eventually. There's this vent in the ceiling.
Oh, I'm sure that won't come into play later in the story. Well, perhaps if he climbs out, I could meet him someday. Okay. How much you want to bet this counselor is going to meet Grandpa and is probably going to die?
Yeah, maybe, but he's not ready to leave. He can't take care of himself. I have to feed him, pick up after him.
Ah, you store the food in your lunchbox. That's nice of you to share.
He can almost talk.
You cannot speak with him?
He doesn't have a mouth. Sort of.
But how do you feed him? And noting down the Chekhov's gun. Yeah.
He has a mouth on the outside, on his shell, or the stuff that is his skin.
I'm a little confused. Maybe you could go through a typical day with your grandpa.
Okay.
I asked her to explain how exactly she goes about growing her grandpa, and Adrienne began another tale. According to Adrienne, in the week that had passed, much had changed in the basement. Alright, let's take a look. Exit. The hairy thing that was here before is gone! Oh, good. Wait. Holy shit, can I make another grandpa? What the fuck? Why do I still have the glue? But, okay, we're kind of skimming over, the thing is gone. That's concerning. You should go see Grandpa first. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Okay. Lab note on an experiment, 1 out of 4. Okay. 1, for the sake of university policy and the health of any future career you hope to have, you will abide by the non-disclosure contract you have signed. 2, do not break the anthropodric vacuum without my prior consultation and approval. 3, any I can't pronounce that word. Forms brought into the enclosed area must not be left unattended.
When not in dormancy, the sample will attempt to take arthropod shells. Please see shell notes for more on that. Okay. Note on experiment. 2 out of 4. Okay, so I read one of them yesterday. Or last week. Whoops. Okay. The sample's exposure to some of our neurology activities is unavoidable. However, the speed at which it... Hang on, I need to take off my socks. Hang on. Yeet! There we go. Just chuck them across the room. I'm also gonna take off my jacket. My god-awful jacket that I've had for 10 years and my mother wants to burn so bad because it's just a nightmare and full of holes and shit. Anyway. It's produced can be dampened by several precautions regarding libidinal and emotional urges. What? My brain is too small for this. Keep conversation not related to lab work to a minimum. If you begin to suspect you are developing attachments to your colleagues, contact me as soon as possible. Its character and history. Yeah, true. Okay, this is the 4th note, and I fucked up. Okay, I clicked the wrong thing. I guess we'll never know. Oh, let's wake up Grandpa. It was scary at first, she said. The way he moved, the way the doll's skin covered him. I wanted to interject. This somehow seemed inappropriate, but I kept listening. When I look at him, she continued, when I think about him, he grows and moves. It's like he's growing for me. So he's growing bigger now, I asked. Yes, she said, bigger every day. Wake up, Grandpa! I'll turn on CNN News for you. Oh, that looks fun. That thing looks so fun. Grandpa, how you been, man? Did you get a new haircut? Also, fun thing I would like to note, upon looking at Grandpa here, you notice he's got those stiff tendril hair things that, like, grow and retract, much like the little weird ball thing that was in the other room of the basement. I would just like to point that out. Moving on. This begins the actual growing part of growing your grandpa. Beneath the doll's burlap skin, the follicles knit together what resembles a proper person, your grandpa. You are in charge of its cognitive development and diet until it is able to sustain itself. Currently, you are observing Grandpa. Please click the arrow back button below for a brief tutorial of your duties as caretaker. Here we can see a variety of options regarding growing your grandpa. Highlighted in the red are objectives related to feeding and teaching Grandpa. Important messages regarding Grandpa's recent activity will also appear here. You will need to find it food and learning material before you can move on to the next week. Some foods will make Grandpa happy, others merely content. Some foods will make Grandpa disgusted to the point of nausea. Learning material is also scattered throughout the basement. Seek out vocabulary cards intended to help teach English and basic... and... this fucking word again. Lots of fire. Honestly, yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Some fire would be good. But I'm afraid we don't have fire. Anthropodric concept formation. I butchered that, whatever. The options highlighted in red are related to navigating around Grandpa's enclosure. The Go to Grandpa option will let you perform all activities directly related to Grandpa, feeding, teaching, observing, etc. I need water. Oh shit, please tell me that wasn't a hiccup.
felt like a hiccup. Deep down, I really hope that wasn't a hiccup. Accessing the study corner will let you go over any documents you pick up as the weeks go by. It's a good idea to learn about the work of the people who last occupied this space. Okay, so the 2 notes I accidentally clicked on before I could read them, I'm going to be able to read those since I missed them before. That's good. Accessing the kitchen corner will let you search for food in the old refrigerator and prepare food for Grandpa if need be. The help button will replay this tutorial. I was hoping the help button could be a help, I'm growing a mutant creature and I would like to not do that anymore, please. I don't want to live the thing. The save game button will save your current progress. You can only have one save file at a time. So if you have save data, you will be asked if it's okay to overwrite it. The exit game button will take you back to the main menu. All right. More buttons may or may not appear depending on your development of Grandpa, so watch out for them. Wait, what? Yeah, it's true if I do get hiccups. This is a horror game, so surely they'll go away eventually. But I think it was a false alarm. Alright, so there could be other things that happen with Grandpa. Okay. One final note. Take care to explore the basement at your leisure. However, due to the entropic nature of clutter and trash, different weeks may allow you to find things you had not previously discovered. Good luck. Thanks! I'm probably gonna die. Okay, feed Grandpa. Alright, find 2 acceptable foods eaten. Seek out things to feed Grandpa. Teach Grandpa. 2 words taught. Find your vocabulary cards to help Grandpa speak. Explore the basement. Okay. Cabinet. Examine. Slouching under the weight of rot and refuge. Okay, cabinet. Alright, here we go. Throw away your trash. Littering is wrong. Hey, look at that. We found something. Clean this space will not be... Okay. Let's see. Blueberries. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Alright. Anything else here? I do not see anything else. Alright, top drawer. Let's toss all of this. I can't even tell what this is. I think it's paper. I think it's supposed to be paper. It looks like paper. Oh, I see faces. That's fun. Are these supposed to be more of the dolls under the stairs? Okay. That's fun. An account of an acquisition. Before we began, he had us all cover our faces completely. An earthenware pot was something, and on the inside, as we stole brief glances at it, we could see the interior was inlaid with mirrors. The something gave it small pieces of dough, spoiled food, chicken feed, something, keeping it content. The keeper gestured toward the small bag where the food composted, and told us to be careful not to feed it any meat. I asked if the rotting food was enough to sustain it, how it might get nutrients from any of this. Yeah, I hope it's paper too. But I mean, considering this was a place that had a lot of what seemed to be scientists, researchers, and we're finding all of these notes, I'm gonna say it's probably paper. At least that's what I'm gonna tell myself. Anyway, the keeper regarded me seriously and said it did not matter what it was fed, the act of feeding itself was what mattered. The act of feeding flesh is another act, however.
Okay, wow, you sound like... It sounds like you're speaking from experience. He then gave me another series of grave warnings regarding not keeping any animal-derived foods near where I might be keeping it.
Okay, couple things to unpack there. First of all, the thing that really stuck out to me is the fact that the scientists were told to, like, cover their faces, and the cell is full of mirrors, so it can't see other people. So that's suggesting the possibility this thing is able to take on other people's forms. So this could quite literally be like the movie The Thing. And the other thing is this, the keeper, was insistent on no animal-based foods or meats or anything. So that is also concerning. But yeah, that stuff just really stuck out to me. Excuse me. Okay, I appear to not be able to access this at the moment, so we're gonna have to keep an eye out for a key. Alright, trash pile. Examine. Let's examine. Something about that painting looks strange. Search painting. Up. Oh, there we go. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, I guess not. A folder full of radiographic images. Okay, I'll have to look at those later. Alright. Search trash pile. So meat is a no-go. Vegetarian diet only. Yeah. I'm wondering if we are going to, like, find meat-based food, because so far all we've found is blueberries. So I wonder if we are going to find meat-based food, and we can choose whether or not we give the food. Because it seems like, just considering there are other options we can unlock in the game, it seems possible that there are multiple endings and outcomes. Fiberglass insulation. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat this, however. Ah, yes. Fiberglass. Let's feed that to Grandpa. I'm sure that'll go well. I just yelled, let's feed fiberglass, and I keep forgetting my bedroom windows are open. Okay, examine. Trash. Alright, that's fair. Okay, now we can check out this trash pile from last week. Alright, we've already found a thing. Get rid of all of this. Excuse me. Okay, let's first look at... Oh, let's look at this. Corroded battery. This isn't really food. Grandpa might eat it, however. Okay, so now I'm seeing a third option. So I'm wondering, like, we haven't seen any meat-based foods available. But I'm wondering, is the game gonna change if you feed Grandpa meat, you just feed him more vegetable-based things, or if you feed him things that just aren't food at all? Like, I'm curious how different that's gonna be. Vocabulary card. Hello. Alright, we've got a word for Grandpa. Oh, we just looked at that. Bulbous growth. Something appears to be growing from the wall. You take a closer look. Oh, God. I hate that. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, I'm glad I ate dinner before I played this game. Oh, Lord have mercy. That is awful. A pulsating sac. The slimy membrane that is its skin seems to contain something. Oh, I hate that. Fire. Yes, fire. Burn it. Burn that thing. Holy shit. Is that the secret ending of this game? You set this shit on fire? It might be able to be opened with a blade. Oh,
it's too dark to go over there still. I already looked over here. Is there anything? No. Okay. Did we look here? Oh, I didn't look at this. Oh, there we go. Get rid of all the trash. You know, and hopefully we won't find any more blobs of flesh. God. Yeah, exactly. That's what every horror game needs. Okay, there is nothing here. Alright. Okay, we already searched those. Searched that. Did we search here? We did not search here yet. The waste here smells particularly strong. Oh, that's promising. Okay, this was the trash pile from before we couldn't explore. This is the one I was talking about, not the other one. Oh, we found a thing. But let's get rid of the rest of this before we examine what we've found. So let me get rid of this. Shabooey. Alright, what is this? A simple paper doll. This might be useful in the construction of magic symbols. Alright, that's everything there. Okay, I've checked out everything here. I checked this out. And this is where it's dark. Okay, so I can't explore there. Let's just go back to Grandpa, I guess. The kitchen corner. Let's look at the kitchen corner. Search upper fridge. Lettuce. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Is this a thing? Is this a thing? No, that is not a thing. Okay, that's fair. Search lower fridge. Brown banana. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Okay, so we found some food. I don't want to look at that yet. I want to go to the study corner. Look over documents. Examine. Let's look over documents. We already read that. Hastily written note. I wasn't able to read this. I have repeatedly called your homes to no avail, and so I am forced to leave this here for you all. I found William sitting in the corner of the enclosure area, seeming severely concussed. Whiskers was gone. Oh! We have a name. We have a name for the brush ball. Fun. Okay. In none of its usual hiding places, I immediately suspected the worst. The project thus must be suspended for now. I am leaving up the usual mirrored coverings we use to keep the anthropogenic void sealed. I have done my best to lock up everything on such short notice. It is a hasty fix, but it will require some time to find a more permanent remedy. I am honestly hoping you do not find this note, as I intend to lock the house down too. I intend to race off to you to retrieve your lockbox keys. Do not worry about William's key. It and the rest of his equipment is almost certainly deep within Whiskers now. Oh, jeez. I pray you do not enter this room. No matter how it may appear, William cannot be helped, and is only being kept alive as a means of continuing predation on the rest of us. I will say once again, no matter what state you may encounter William in, he cannot be helped. I have sympathies for the young man, I truly do, but I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which would imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Oh, so was he trying to make Whiskers take the form of his sister? His deceased sister. And now we are doing the same thing. That's promising. Our extant research materials have now become possible liabilities. either criminal or professional in nature, so I have stashed them away. I believe I let you all know how I might do this if we were ever to experience an event such as this. I hope you all remember what I told you. So long then, Dr. H. Alright, there's more. Which one of these notes did I read already? I think, was it this one? Yeah, this is the one I missed. This is the other one I missed. Regarding growth cycles, every time Whiskers regenerates and leaves dormancy, it is to be logged as a new propagation. The sample's bodily existence cannot be something, i.e., a part cannot be cut from the whole, so there can only be one living propagation. Propagations are to be terminated after 5 weeks. Oh, 5 weeks. And this game plays out in intervals of weeks, so what's gonna happen after we get to week 5? Oh no. Any further developments put us at risk. Termination procedures will be posted and followed with extreme care. With all of that out of our way, I want to welcome you to the project. I look forward to working with you, Dr. Hart. Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to working. Yeah, this is so fun. Radiographs. Can I not look at the radiographs? I guess not. Okay. Examine education posters. Oh. A set of procedures regarding disposal. Interment. Oh. You have gained conversation topic, biohazard bin. Alright, hold on, I want to read that. You know, just to be safe, I'd like the disposal knowledge in my head. The researcher will seal off the enclosure bars, ensuring minimal gas leakage during the later fumigating process, and then retrieve the burn barrel and place it near the enclosure. Allow at least 48 hours of time where the current growth cycle experiences no human-related pseudomuli. I don't know what that says. Do not enter the enclosure area, nor any part of the basement. Ideally, you will not be on the grounds at all. After 48 hours, 2 researchers will enter the basement wearing their assigned mirror mask, mirror apron, and powered air purifying respirator. The researchers will use the vent system to fumigate the enclosure area, wait 30 minutes, and then use the fan system to ventilate the enclosure. Keep the fans running during steps 3 and 4. Re-enter the enclosure area wearing your assigned mirror masks and aprons. The organism may or may not be in complete dormancy. If it is not in full dormancy, be assured that its capacity to act against you will be greatly diminished. With your assigned power drills, quickly remove any enclosure bars needed to access the organism. Put them aside for later reinstallation. Put the organism in the burn barrel. Incinerate the organism thoroughly. Wait for any smoke to be properly cleared by the fan system. Turn off the fans. One researcher will receive the nucleus from the ash and place it in the mirror box. The other researcher will sift through the ash and place any other substantial remains in the biohazard bin in the room outside of the enclosure area. The bin is locked for safety purposes. The code... Oh, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna write that down. We got a code. We got a number. I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna write that down.
Okay. Okay. Biohazard bin code. Alright. 323245. That looks like an S. Okay, there we go. Nope, still looks like an S, but whatever. Alright. The researchers will fill out a termination form and leave it for Dr. Hart. Okay, so it really is kill it with fire. Alright. Well, good to know. Okay, there's nothing else here, I guess. Search file cabinet 1. Hey, we found more stuff. Alright, that's everything. Are these not things? Okay, I guess not. Cashews! It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. An account of an accusation. It was said to pass from one family of people to another, but pressed on an ultimate origin something somewhere to the south, collided in a bowl covered in incantations, buried upside down by a graveyard, a common late antiquity demon trap. What? That's true. That is true. It doesn't get rid of the thing. It just like takes away its form. So yeah, that is a problem. The keeper, an elderly man in failing health, was ready to expound on and on about the dangers of the organism, but when I asked more pointed questions about the history of its acquisition, I was given curt responses that had a way of circling back to vague warnings. Alright. Up. I forgot I had notifications on. Alright, file cabinet 2. I'm seeing a lot of what look like possibly IDs in this drawer. Okay, nothing else, so just this. Vocabulary card, Grandpa. Alright, so we've got food and we've got 2 words, so that's good. I wanna get this last drawer before I do anything. Looks like this drawer has a false bottom, so... Remove the taped down fabric to reveal the cabinet's wooden bottom. A note regarding cleanup procedures. To my colleagues, I don't mean to be overly severe in tone, but Dr. Hart's work is very important and the material we are working with is potentially very dangerous. I will be handing out a copy of this note as a reminder to everyone. I am not trying to single any particular person out. We all have misconceptions about the nature of this project from time to time. Gee, I fucking wonder why. With that out of the way, here are some things to keep in mind. The active growth must be thoroughly terminated via the correct procedures at the very least 4 weeks after dormancy is interrupted. It doesn't matter what you've done or haven't done regarding tests or procedures, or how much of an anthropologic vacuum has been disrupted. We are not ready to go beyond 4 weeks at this point. A step-by-step guide to termination has been posted by the enclosure wall. Please, please, please do not place the educational posters over this posting. That is exactly what happened. Do not disrupt
the anthropogic vacuum without Dr. Hart's prior consultation and approval. In case any emergency where the vacuum is disrupted, put on your equipment and begin the lockdown procedure. Make an extensive note of when and how to the breach occurred. If you find the habitat empty, page Dr. Hart immediately, but do not attempt to speak with anyone else. This thing can get very smart. I'm sure you're all well aware from the stories we've heard on our accusation trip. The greatest caution should be used when dealing with a potential aggressive mimicry scenario. Oh my god, it is the thing! Please seek me out if you have any more questions, William. So we quite literally are dealing with the thing. Notation regarding sample of exoskeletons. Research participants, please take note. Each growth from the cycle does not require a shell, but you may find the sample will often try and seize on something somewhat flexible. It can grow into, along with any desirous yield it may generate, or else it will move from one shell to the next as it outgrows them. In the small amount of time I have spent with it in preparation, I have noticed it tends toward human forms. Oh, that's great. However, we should keep a tight lid on the anthropogic seal in order to be cautious before we begin to experiment with exposing it long-term to anthropogic stimuli. Dr. Hart. All right. Medical imaging device. You slip the radiographic images you found onto the machine's display. Oh. Propagation number 21, day 19 after dormancy and vacuum. Broken yes. Term at 21 days. Intriguing results with regard to the mimic hypothesis. A participant entered a sealed chamber adjacent to Whisker's growth cycle number 21, which had been freed from the anthropogic vacuum, constructed quite an My brain is just short-circuiting so hard. Anyway, from plastic and broken mirrors. The first propagation's original earthenware vacuum was shattered during the move-in. Oh, I'm so sorry I'm butchering so many words. Between the two, there was a semi-opaque glass panel that allowed observation both ways. The human participant was asked to think of someone in the popular consciousness, fictional or no, and cognate. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate it. On their image, personality, face if possible, voice if possible, etc. Our participant chose Jesus of Nazareth, and within weekly repeated exposures to the participant's imaginings propagation, number 21 began forming what resembled an anthropod Nazarene. I don't know how to pronounce that. In the folds of its spines. Oh, jeez. Previous human-oriented tests have always bore out a result that Whiskers would form an anthropod team member, be it me or Dr. Hart or Gerald, and we assumed it was merely mimicking one of us. Dr. Hart has always contended the desirous yield, or the anthropod reproduction Whiskers creates when in contact with human beings, has always been based on the conception and relation to a person through someone else. With this framework, the Desirous yield is not actually a replica of a person, or if it is only a replica of the fiction of a person generated in the mind of another. This Desirous yield was not Jesus Christ, but the participants' image of Jesus, assembled by their religious upbringing, religious artwork, depictions in popular culture, etc. This radiograph was taken right before the destruction of the growth cycle while Whiskers was rendered unconscious via fumigation. It seems like with every successful propagation, the stem cells in the organism work a little faster, but I'm not paranoid. You probably should be. It's technically deathless, yes, but we're burning up whatever knowledge it's gained when we incinerate it. Incinerate, that's the word. When we incinerate it. I don't believe in magic just yet. Okay, so more we can unpack from that. And what really sticks out to me is this thing mimics not what it sees. Well, maybe I think it can possibly mimic what people. Oh wait, it did say it can mimic people's faces, but it can mimic what people imagine a person. So if you picture a person, it will mimic that face. So Adrienne is like wishing really hard and picturing her grandpa. So this thing is going to become her grandpa. And now I'm wondering, is it gonna see in her head, like how far does this seeing into a person's mind go? Because by that logic, she would possibly be thinking about her parents and how they're cruel to her, and this thing being brought as something to love and protect her might get exactly that, protective of her, and this thing, I think, is actually going to go for her parents at some point in the story. We've taken to calling it Whiskers, though of course some have interpreted it as hair or needles or quills, but Whiskers is more accurate, as the needles are really more serpensensory follicles or spines. The nerve nets distributed throughout the morphology of these spines resemble those of genus Hydra, but have myelin sheaths that are functionally the same as vertebrae. As we can see in the X-ray, each spine is laden with dense optical arrangements similar to compound eyes. The Hydra connection is assuredly worth investigating with regard to the organism's capacity for regeneration and endocytal deathlessness. It certainly is a robust enough creature to inspire marvel that is not untinged with fear. Dude, these people were playing God. They should not have done that. Exposure to oh yeah, the spines act as eyes. That explains why the cell has to be covered in mirrors. Exposure to the mammalian forms, part of series of zoomorphic influences, led to further understanding of the propagation's ability to simulate the somatic stem cells that constitute fully developed animals. I write simulate in the previous statement because examining the tissue of each propagation leads me to believe its amazing capacity for accelerated growth of vastly different forms comes from its cell level mutability. And yet, at no time does it function as the thing it becomes except in the sense that it mimics it. That is to say, when Whiskers is removed from dormancy and replicates a rabbit's morphology, it is not seeing from the rabbit's eyes or smelling the rabbit from the rabbit's nose, but pretending that it does and doing a very good job of it. Okay, this is the last one. The radiograph was taken at or around growth cycle 4. The strange thing about it was that the subject of the image was found nowhere near the enclosure. It's almost like a piece of Whiskers fell off and scurried into the corner. I feel like we've learned a lot since then, but at the time I remember speaking about the morphology being weird, not really even resembling any extent zoomorphic structure, besides maybe a cuttlefish. Then I happened to open the thing up. Inside were all these little dead Movia-like things. That they all sort of looked like they had faces. Oh, that's great. Faces that were just barely there. After I took the radiograph, I gathered it up and went to go throw it in the biohazard bin. As I walked by the bars of the enclosure, I could hear Whiskers suddenly going wild, flopping around and grunting excitedly. Could it have smelled the cuttlefish thing? Would it eat its own production? I guess it's technically flesh. This is beyond the scope of the project, but it could be that without the stimulus of an active brain, or more specifically, a healthy and active brain capable of face recognition and theory of mind, Whiskers begins to pull whatever it can form the limited data available to it. Again, this is not our focus at this time, but I left a note for Dr. Hart just in case he wanted to take a look at it. Want to take a look. Okay, well that's fun. Alright. Let's move on from that. Okay. Let's take a look at what food I have. Blueberries, fiberglass insulation, battery, lettuce, banana, and cashews. Okay. And I've got 2 cards, so let's feed and teach Grandpa. Observe. You examine Grandpa, noting its movements, respiration, and general mood. Grandpa seems sort of sluggish and bored. You get the feeling it may be more content and readily cooperative once you fed and taught a word or 2. Yeah, let's feed Grandpa. Would you like to view the tutorial before you start? You will not be prompted again. Yes. How do I feed this thing? This brief tutorial will go over the basics of feeding Grandpa via induction of your unprotected insula. Grandpa has simulated the production of tooth enamel to mimic a human mouth. It will need to be fed through this in order to properly learn and grow. First, you will need to select an item from the lunchbox. Click on the lunchbox in the bottom right corner. The contents of the lunchbox will be displayed. Select an item from the lunchbox. Doing so will fill your hand with this item. Note that any food can be put back in the lunchbox by clicking on the lunchbox with a full hand. Before Grandpa can be fed, it must judge the food by smell. However, your hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs, or hover your hand above Grandpa's olfactory bulbs, If Grandpa is pleased, it will allow you to feed it. Most foods Grandpa will accept. However, getting Grandpa to consume other things requires some culinary deception. Grandpa is willing to be fed. When Grandpa is willing to be fed, hover your hand over its mouth and click. Grandpa will then consume the food. Good luck feeding Grandpa! Alright, let's do it! Oh, fun! Alright, how about some blueberries, Grandpa? Grandpa's enticed by the smell. Grandpa finds this palpable. Alright. Oh god. Alright, it ate. The meal appears to have been sufficient. Alright, what else can we feed Grandpa? I don't want to feed him the non-human things. Yeah, it does look wrong, doesn't it? This art style is pretty disturbing. Let's see, lettuce, banana, or dusty cashews. Let's try feeding him the cashews. Enticed by the smell. Grandpa seems indifferent to the smell, but will accept the meal. Okay. The meal appears to have been sufficient. Alright, he's still hungry. Let's give him the banana. You want banana? Grandpa is... Oh, okay. Never mind. He's full. Never mind. Sorry, Grandpa. I didn't know if you were full or not. Sorry. You step away from the windows set in the bars. Grandpa grunts in appreciation and locomotes towards its favorite corner. Feeding summary. 2 digestible food. Alright. Let's go back to Grandpa and let's teach him some stuff. Alright. Would you like the tutorial before you start? Yes. This brief tutorial will go over teaching Grandpa pronunciation and vocalization. The vocabulary word you picked will appear in the top left corner. In the bottom right corner will be a pentagon that is divided up into 8 sections. A section of the pentagon will be highlighted briefly. A notification sound will play, and soon another section will be highlighted. You will control a small round icon that sits above the pentagon by using your mouse. The ball is constrained to the limits of the pentagon. The goal is to keep your icon over the highlighted area and move it as the area changes sections around the pentagon. Okay, this isn't as complicated as I thought it was. When you hold left click above the correct highlighted area, the icon will start to vibrate, along with the simulated vocal cords, and the current letter of your word will begin to turn red. Keep holding over the highlighted section and adjust your icon as it changes place. Soon the letter will become fully red. After every letter becomes red, Grandpa will proudly pronounce the word to you and it will be considered learned. Teaching Grandpa these words will accelerate its cognitive development and lead to further breakthroughs in general intelligence. Teach word hello. You approach the small window. Okay. Oh jeez. Oh, what? Oh, jeez. What the fuck is happening? Oh, I get what I'm supposed to do. Oh, jeez. Okay, I see what I was doing wrong. I was doing it wrong. Okay. Oh, jeez. Come on. Shit. Okay, this is a bit of a pain. I don't like this mini game. Deep within Grandpa's strange memories. Oh, jeez. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card and the notes there written by administrators of the past. Hello, part of vocabulary and vocal module A2, conversational basics. General pronunciation, comments, sloppy articulation. Module comments, see below. We are already encountering some difficulty as Whisker's subjectivity is so much determined by a diverse dynamics array of influences. It attempts to mimic the thoughts and desires it passively intercepts. And these imitations go on to structure the basis of its identity. Only later in Whisker's growth cycle does it begin to form an identity that are coherent and capable of resembling a sane, rational human being when engaged in conversation. One must imagine how hard it would be to converse with someone who is not yet oriented in one particular way towards who or how they are, because they might have 20 different honest answers to those questions, all of them mixed and muddled together. Because of this, we have started with the basics of conversation, greetings, partings, identifying one another, forming questions, etc., etc. It is fortunate Whisker's current growth, 19 I believe, has developed a mostly accurate human mouth simulation. Hello was a bit of a challenge in its previous growth as it had failed to develop an adequate organ to act as a human tongue. You step away from the bars and store the module card at the document table. Alright. We've got one more word to teach him. Teach Grandpa. Vocabulary card, Grandpa. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. I get it. Okay, this is easy. I was confused at first, but now I get it. Oh, that's so weird. Oh, that's creepy. Having completed the lesson, you take a look at the back of the vocabulary module card. Oh, I already read this. Grandpa, part of the vocabulary and vocalization module E81. Family. General pronunciation comments. Usual trouble with articulation, voice, thin, raspy, possible underdeveloped larynx. Module comments, see below. We have done several sessions of what we are calling familial relation simulation. I and a co-researcher sit in chairs opposite. I need a drink of water. We are wearing the usual masks and begin to act out a scene, mostly through improvisation. Yep, need to hydrate. That might roughly resemble a kitchen table conversation between an immediate family. Repeated trials would reveal, although our simulated conversation was purposely vague and unspecific regarding persons and identities, we would only address each other as brother, father, sister, etc., etc. It soon became apparent the encoded information and association we unconsciously drawn upon when hearing and speaking these words was being picked up on by Whiskers, and its psi-type field of reception and interpretation of brain, mind, events, somatic content. My co-researcher William noticed this in a simulation where Whiskers was given a role as a sister, and he as a brother. I was the father. Whiskers began responding to certain prompts with unusual as well as general pattern and timbre of speech that continued with unusual consistency. As soon as the simulation ended and we left the enclosure area, William let me know that Whiskers was almost certainly drawing from encoded memories of his late sister, mapping out exactly what regions and centers of neural activity are in by psi-type field will take extensive neuroimaging that we do not have at this site. Currently, we only have less precise portable equipment. However, our experiences so far are eerily in line with folk knowledge and folk explanations regarding the being's access to desires, and we can begin to infer it has access to certain portions of the limbic system and the virtual temporal cortex. Alright. I'm gonna go to Grandpa and observe. It is thirsty work. It is very thirsty work. You examine Grandpa, noting its movements, reciprocation, and general mood. Grandpa appears content and ready to cooperate. Attempt to communicate. Grandpa... Oh jeez, I almost fell. Accede to your request. It approaches the bars and begins to unknit its skin. The inner Grandpa, though still not fully formed, is revealed. It may be fruitful to speak with it, if it can respond. Oh! Hi, Grandpa. Ask about Wish, about Grandpa's shell, about Biohazard Bin. Goodbye. Actually, I wasn't leaning back in my chair. My jewelry box is under my desk, and I was resting my foot on it, and I tilted it, and it started to fall. Okay, ask about Wish. Oh, that's awful. With a great deal of effort, Grandpa gurgles fragmented thoughts through its ill-formed lips. Yeah, I went with it. New lives out of the air. The dark, spiny filaments that make up the majority of Grandpa's body begin to oscillate rapidly. The air behind your eyes, I can taste it. Ask about Grandpa's shell. With a great deal of effort, Grandpa gurgles... I already read that. Skin, my body, all human skin around me. Give more. Grow more to fit. I'm not sure I want to ask about the biohazard bin. I think it's gonna just piss him off. However, it fails to produce more than a wet and frustrated spluttering noise. Alright. Well, on that note, bye, Grandpa. Grandpa silently ascends back into its shell. Alright, I think that's everything. So, well, first off, I want to save the game. Save game. Then we're going to end the week. She liked it in the week. Yes. All right. Weekly summary. Food acquired: blueberries, fiberglass insulation, battery, lettuce, banana, cashews. Documents acquired: a lot. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to a new conversation topic to discuss with Grandpa. Language. Week 3. Mrs. Richards approached me the other day in order to remark on Adrienne's development. She noted how much more at ease she appeared when called upon in class, or when asked to participate in group exercises. I told her I had seen this change happening as well, and that as much as I would like to take credit for it, I can only guess dimly at what might be reshaping her attitude. Mrs. Richards posited that it was perhaps Adrienne's family moving into their grandfather's property that caused the change. It apparently is out in the country, in a wooded area, full of wide open space, and far from the bustle and noise of the city. Oh! How fitting. So the house where this weird experiment thing is happening is out in an isolated area. I'm sure that won't cause issues. Oh, the grandfather is Dr. Hart himself. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. The grandfather is Dr. Hart. So now I'm wondering, considering everything with like the biohazard bin and stuff, if Whiskers holds resentment towards Dr. Hart and all the others, so he's gonna get really pissed about taking on Dr. Hart's form. I don't know, I'm spitballing here. Anyway. The grandfather, Dr. Jacob Hart, had jointly purchased the land with the university he was employed with and began constructing what he was intending to be a satellite campus for a psychological and anthropology program he had a hand in establishing. Only one building ever ended up being constructed after Dr. Hart died in a car accident when driving back from the property one day. Eerily, at almost the exact same time, a grad student who was assisting Dr. Hart on some sort of project at the property vanished without a trace. I bet that's William. The property sat in disuse for years as it was tied up in legal battles between Dr. Hart's next of kin, the university, the vanished grad student's family, and the other students Dr. Hart was working with. Eventually, the case was settled out of court. Only recently did the property fall into the possession of Adrienne's mother. Obviously, I was not going to relay this whole tragic story to Adrienne, who for all I know believes her grandfather is still living in the basement at his home. Besides, I thought she might already know all of this. Perhaps the elaborate story she was constructing was her own way of escaping the morbid details of a life, or perhaps lives cut short by the cruel force of fate and the cynical adults who squabbled in the aftermath. I determined perhaps the storytelling she was and continues to engage in should not be encouraged by me, at least not in the way I went about it before, where I made active inquiries into her stage fantasy of a sentient ball of skin. When I saw Adrienne, I did not bring up her grandpa or ask questions about his growth. Adrienne could not stop talking about it, however. I had no choice but to weather her bizarre and enthusiastic about her new best friend. Adrienne, maybe we can talk about something else? I'm not sure I'm following you exactly.
He's gotten so big. He has so many whiskers that
come out and I can see them move around when I think about him. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm so happy Grandpa is back. He's so much cooler than Mom and Dad. Once again, for what it's worth, I have to put down the story she told me as best I could. Adrienne once again told me about growing her grandpa. Okay, the hairy thing is gone. Oh, we found something else. It just got a lot colder in my room. I think it's because it might rain soon. Also, I want to mention, we are at the point where I don't know what's going to happen in the game. Kiwi, it looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Okay, I guess that's everything. Bulbous growth. Oh, it's still there. Okay, that's great. Still can't go over here. There's not more in this painting, is there? I don't think so. Okay. Alright, let's search the trash pile. Oh, we found something else. We found another thing. Right, there we go. Alright, what is this? Potato. It looks edible. Grandpa might like this. Oh, new word. Life. Alright. So there's that. Cabinet. Let's get rid of more trash. There we go. Oh, there's nothing here. I see nothing here. Alright. Let's check the top drawer. With all the creepy masks in it. Let's see. Up. There we go. Come on. Come on. There we go. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all of this week before I end stream, but we'll see. Okay, there's nothing here. Bottom drawer. Okay, this is still locked. Okay, I looked at those. Oh, I didn't look over here. I'm hoping we can find a key or a lighter. The things I'm wanting to find are a key for that one drawer, a knife for the little bulbous flesh thing, as much as I don't want to deal with that, and then a light source for that dark area. That's a big word. Oh, I already looked at the bulbous growth. Alright, okay, I looked at that. I looked here, I looked here. I looked here. Wait. No. Yet another pulsating snack grows in the corner of the basement. There's another one? Why are there two? Why are there two? Let's check on Grandpa. Grandpa's gums are bleeding slightly, and its skin seems overly dry. It may need a food packed with vitamin C. A kiwi fruit would be an excellent remedy. Well, what are the odds? I found another one. Yeah, it is spreading. Isn't that great? I'm wondering, are those part of this creature?